This just a few days ago, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat said that if India was to remain united, if there was to be communal harmony, then all denominations, whether Hindus, communists, Muslims, or members of any other faith, must give up their supremacist mindset. What he meant was that all should not think that their own faith or outlook is superior to that of others. There is a tendency among the faiths of the book to carve up the world into believers and infidels and then strive to bring the latter into the fold through proselytization or then use of force. This is what an interfaith relations. First listen to Mohan Bhagwat.
हिंदुस्तान बना रहा है, सीधी बात है। इसमें जो आज हमारे भारत में मुसलमान हैं उनको कोई नुकसान नहीं, वो है, वो रहना चाहते हैं, रहे, पूर्वजों के पास वापस आना चाहते हैं, आए, उनके मन पर है। हिंदुओं में ये आग्रह है नहीं, इस्लाम को कोई खतरा नहीं है। हाँ, हम बढ़े, हम एक समय राजा थे, हम फिर से राजा बनना, ये छोड़ना पड़ेगा। हम ही सही बाकी सब गलत, ये छोड़ना पड़ेगा। हम अलग है इसलिए हम अलग ही रहेंगे, हम सबके साथ मिलकर नहीं रह सकते, ये छोड़ना पड़ेगा। किसी को भी छोड़ना पड़ेगा। ऐसा सोचने वाला कोई हिंदू है उसको भी छोड़ना पड़ेगा, कम्युनिस्ट है उनको भी छोड़ना पड़ेगा।
Viewers, sadly, there are few takers for Mr. Bhagwat's well-informed advice, well-intentioned advice. Tonight, your channel will reveal how Hindus are being terrorized to convert to Islam. We get you chilling testimonies and eyewitness accounts from Daund in Maharashtra, which will reveal how Hindus there are being deceived, coerced, bribed, and even forcibly circumcised. We delved into what's driving this forced conversion, which is an open secret that no one has dared to expose till now. A young girl was deceived into marriage and forcibly converted. Hear how a man named Salman, who has been arrested, called himself Raj and lied to her about his faith. This, viewers, is her story, and she is just one of the few who has undergone this trauma. Listen in.
मैं सिटी में हॉस्टल पे रह रही थी, तो फिर वो लड़के के साथ, मतलब वो लड़का हिंदू नाम करके ऐसे बोल रहा था कि मेरा नाम राज है, तो फिर मेरे उसके साथ पहचान हुई, फिर हमारी फ्रेंडशिप वगैरह हुई, हम दोनों रिलेशनशिप में आ गए, फिर हमारी बातचीत शुरू हो गई, ऐसे हो गया। माइंडसेट ये था कि वो हिंदू लड़का है तो फिर मेरी फैमिली एक्सेप्ट कर लेंगी, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा। बट जब वो कोर्ट के डॉक्यूमेंट्स मेरे सामने आ गए तो फिर मेरे को पता चला कि वो एक्चुअल में वो लड़का मोमेडियन है। मैं शॉक हो गई, फिर मैंने उसको देखा, ऐसे क्वेश्चन किए कि ये क्या है, ये सब क्या है, मेरे साथ फ्रॉड हो गया, तूने ऐसे किया वैसे किया। वो ऐसे बोला कि मैं तेरी फैमिली को भी संभाल लूँगा, उसकी ऐसे कर लूँगा। उसने ऐसे मेरे को प्लानिंग वगैरह बताई, फिर उसने वो बोला कि यहाँ पे साइन वगैरह कर लेने के शादी हो जाएंगी, कोर्ट मैरिज।
Now viewers, hear this couple who narrate how they were forcibly converted to Islam. In fact, the husband says that they pinned him down in his own home and forcibly circumcised him. Hear his ordeal, and on the basis of his ordeal, an FIR has been filed and more arrests have been made. Listen in, viewers.
फिर कपड़े होते बाद इन्हें मोबाइल शूटिंग कर रहे थे, वो वीडियो शूटिंग, तो एक टीवी के बाजू नहीं क्या उधर रखे थे मोबाइल उसने, और डॉक्टर के साथ बोले, डॉक्टर साहब करो, बोले अभी उसका खतना। और फिर जबरदस्ती ने क्या किया, आसिफ शेख ने बोले हाथ पकड़ने को लगाए और कोमल कुरैशी पैर पकड़े, और वो क्या उर्दू भाषा में क्या मंत्र पढ़ रहे थे, वो मुझे कुछ समझ में बिल्कुल भी नहीं आ रहा था। तो ऐसे धारदार शास्त्र से नहीं गया, वो मेरे लिंग के आगे के कातड़े निकाल के फेंके, और मुझे ऐसे जो कोने में हालत में फेंक के गए।
कोमल कुरैशी ने मेरे को ऑफिस में बुलाए, खबरस्तान के उधर उनका ऑफिस है, उधर बुलाए, बोले कि अपने मुसलमान में लेने का उसको। तो मैंने बोली नहीं, हमारे मुसलमान में उन्होंने नहीं आएंगे, मैं हमारी शादी हो चुकी, तेरे आदमी को मारूंगा, फिर मारकर बच्चे लोग को छोड़ूंगा, मारूंगा।
Another man in Daund claims that after he married a Muslim girl, her family gave him death threats to convert to Islam. One day he claims he was drugged and circumcised. Now hear his story, viewers. Again, arrests have taken place, FIRs have been lodged in each one of these cases.
मेरा एक मुस्लिम लड़की के साथ अफेयर था 3 साल से। बाद में हम दोनों जन कॉलेज से उसको लेके मैं घूमने गया, मेरे को शादी करनी है आपके साथ। फिर हमने शादी की आलंदी। शादी करने के बाद हम घर आए। घर आने के बाद उन्होंने बहुत ये करे उसके घर वालों ने कि ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, हमारी लड़की मुस्लिम है, हिंदू में नहीं जा सकती, तुमको है ना हमारे कास्ट वाले काट के डालेंगे, ऐसा करेंगे वैसा करेंगे। पिताजी ने, भाई ने, बाबा ने बुलाया, उन्होंने मेरे को हॉस्पिटल में इधर से श्रीरामपुर में, फिर मेरे को बेहोश करा। उन्होंने वो क्या ऑपरेशन बोलते खातना, मेरे को तो मालूम नहीं था।
Now hear the story of a couple who lost their son. It's a heart-wrenching story because he refused to convert. They say he was killed in cold blood for standing up for his beliefs, for his faith.
लग्न केल्यावर त्या मुलीना ती गेली तिकडं पुण्याला। त्याच्यानंतर मुलाला पुसलून नेलं त्यांनी, पुसलून बोलवलं तिकडं। आणि ज्या टायमाला इकडे श्रीरामपूरला आलं ते त्यांचा धर्म स्वीकारा, तर मुलगा म्हणे आम्ही धर्म स्वीकारणार नाही। त्यांनी पकडा तसाच इकडं नदीला आणून मारलं, आणलं नदीला फेकून दिला। अशी घटना झाली का त्याला शिक्षा झाली पाहिजे शासनाकडून, ही आमची मागणी।
Viewers, Times Now's team, your channel's team, conducted this investigation in Maharashtra's Daund. In fact, what the locals say is that in a year over 200 conversions take place in this part of Maharashtra alone. Moreover, Muslim men who get to convert Hindu girls are also rewarded between 4 to 5 lakhs. That's what the claims are, viewers. Remember, as I told you, in most of these cases, FIRs have been filed and the police have effected arrests. So prima facie, there is reason to suspect that these stories are not made up, as a large number of people seem to suggest. Now, here another witness who says that forced conversion and torture of young girls are an open secret, but everyone's too scared to speak up. Listen.
साल में कम से कम 100 से 200 के आसपास धर्मांतर होते हैं, ज़्यादा करके लड़कियां, बहुत ज़्यादा
लड़कियां।
हाँ।
कैसी लड़कियां, मतलब क्या उम्र में होती होंगी वो?
17, 18 या जो कॉलेज में करते हैं, जो कॉलेज में रहते हैं, ज़्यादा करके उनका ब्रेन वॉश कर शादी की बात करते हैं। फिर बच्चे पीछे निकालने के बाद वापस से तलाक करके दूसरी शादी के लिए वो तैयार होते। पॉलिटिशियन भी उनको ही सपोर्ट करते, इसलिए कोई आवाज़ नहीं उठ रहा। जिसके घर में ऐसी परिस्थिति हो गई तो वो सिर्फ डर के चुप बैठ रहा। जब उसको पॉलिटिशियन से ही कोई न्याय नहीं मिल रहा तो फिर वो क्या करेगा। मैडम, दहशत मतलब मार तोड़ने की। जब उन्होंने मारा तो भी यहाँ का एक भी हिंदू कंप्लेंट नहीं दे सकता उनके खिलाफ।
मुस्लिम मतलब मारपीट करते हैं आप लोग?
मारपीट करते, भर चौक में लड़कियां छेड़ते, तब भी कुछ एक्शन नहीं होती है।
मतलब अगर शादी की तो पैसे मिलते हैं?
पैसे मिलते हिंदू लड़की से।
मुस्लिम लड़का हिंदू लड़की से?
हाँ, मुस्लिम लड़का हिंदू लड़की से शादी की तो पैसे मिलते।
कितने मिलते हैं?
5 लाख के आसपास। इसमें 2-3 नाम ऐसे उनके हिसाब में कोई कुछ एक्शन ही नहीं लेता।
जैसे कौन?
जैसे कि फारूक कुरैशी हुआ, कुमेल कुरैशी हुआ, फरहान कुरैशी हुआ और आसिफ कुरैशी हुआ। ऐसे और 2-3 जन हो गए तो इनके खिलाफ कोई कुछ बोलता ही नहीं।
Viewers, you heard that gentleman naming a few people. Well, Kumail Qureshi, alias Haji Sahab, has been arrested for being alleged mastermind of the forced conversion racket. He and his aides have been arrested for allegedly converting over 100 Hindus, as well as conducting forced circumcisions. Our reporter Shivani tracked down where this individual operates from. Listen into this.
फिलहाल जिस जगह से हम रिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, यहाँ के लोगों का पता लगाना इसलिए ज़्यादा ज़रूरी हो जाता है क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र के दौंड इलाके में इसी घर के अंदर स्थित रहने वाले कुमेल कुरैशी ने कई सारे अपने सहयोगियों के साथ मिलकर करीबन 100 लोगों से ज़्यादा लोगों को हिंदू समाज से मुसलमान समाज में शामिल किया है, और वो भी ज़बरदस्ती, बिना उनकी मर्जी से उन्हें डराकर, धमकाकर, बहला और फुसलाकर। यहाँ पर 2 लोगों को अरेस्ट किया गया है, जिसमें एक कुमेल कुरैशी है और उसी के साथ साथ उसका साथी आसिफ शेख बताया जा रहा है।
Now, viewers, even the Supreme Court has expressed deep concern over this serious issue. The top court said that it shouldn't be given a political color and that there is a difference between the right to freedom of religion and the right to convert. And the right to convert, somebody is also not, in fact, without fetters. In fact, the Supreme Court had called the forced conversion serious issue in its December 5th observation. Forced religious conversion is very serious, said the court. Matter affects the security of the country. It's a serious issue, must not politicize it. Purpose of charity should not be conversion. This is what the Supreme Court itself has said. Clearly, all these cases, viewers, fall somewhere within the ambit of what the Supreme Court itself refers to forced conversions. Now let's open this up because we have a lot to talk about today, and we should hope to have a debate that is decorous. Let's not get personal. Let's not make insulting comments about each other. Let's just keep it above board, and I hope that the panelists tonight respect some of those red lines. As you know, viewers, we are not trying to promote any form of animosity here. We are only trying to bring out how the rights of some people are being brazenly disregarded. And we are going to try and ask, why is it that this is happening? So let me begin by asking a very simple question of Professor Atikur Rahman, Lokesh Jindal, Danish Qureshi Sahab, and the other panelists, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Ratan Sharda Sahab, and Sushil Pandit tonight. I want to first begin with Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress. Mr. Jindal, a few weeks back, Mr. D.K. Shivkumar in Bengaluru rather, had made certain comments which seem to suggest that he doesn't believe that there are forced conversions going on. And let me quote him. And he talked also about his opposition to a either national or a statewide anti-conversion bill. And this is what he said. The bill is aimed at minorities and their institutions, in particular Christians. The BJP is alleging that they are converting the poor forcibly. This is baseless. There are no forcible conversions. Thousands of students from Hindu and other faiths attend schools, convent schools in the state. Are all these schools conversion centers? Unquote. Now, obviously, he was speaking about a specific story and a reaction of the BJP to that story. But here from a neighboring state, Maharashtra, we are getting you another context, another bunch of people who have been affected by the followers of another faith. But you understand what I'm trying to get at. There seems to be a degree of skepticism. Also, I just want to ask you, Mohan Bhagwat had talked about renouncing this supremacist mindset. Now, what if not a supremacist mindset is driving this forced conversion terror? Would you agree, sir?
Okay. Good evening, Rahul.
Good evening.
Rahul, I'll answer the first question that you asked. Mr. D.K. Shivkumar, he was referring to mass conversions. And now the conversions that we saw, they are criminal acts done by individuals. So they are liable to be punished as per the Indian Penal Code. Any person who is resorting to forceful conversion like this, that's a criminal offense. That's not propagation of religion at all. So that doesn't come under propagation or conversion to another person's religion. Secondly, with respect to the statement, yes, the statement with respect to LGBT was welcomed by Bhagwatji. That was a much welcome statement. And even the other statement, slight modification would have been better if rather than they, he would have used the word we. We all must shun away with supremacy. That would have been more welcomed. Because see, if you talk about Hindus and Muslims, we are living in a society where once in 30 years, we are bound to celebrate Muharram and Ram Navami together. One is the festival of grief, another is the festival of joy. So it is bound to come time and again. We are going to come face to face with each other. We have to resolve these differences amicably, peacefully, have a spirit of tolerance with both of us. So the statement is welcome, but it would have been better worded. It could have been better sent out. The message could have been better. I mean, it could have been in a better phrase altogether.
Sir, how much more reasonableness would you expect from Mohan Bhagwat? He has asked everybody, without any preconditions, Hindus, etc., to renounce what is this supremacist attitude. But I'm asking you, Mr. Jindal, would you concede that there is a need for a pan-national anti-conversion law, a strict anti-conversion law, and that what we are witnessing today stems from a supremacist outlook? Would you at least concede that?
Yes, Rahul, we already have enough provisions in the penal code, as well as with respect to the Constitution also mentions it clearly. I mean, there was a PIL recently filed that there has to be a task force constituted so as to look into the matter of forced conversion and whatever is happening. But setting up commissions, setting up committees is not going to do away with this particular issue. It has to be more with bringing about awareness also, and rather than simply going in a legal way, we have to go from a social aspect, from the social way as well. In fact, we must take into account civil societies such as the ulemas and organizations, and they must appeal to the people. They must resist from such form of acts of converting another person's religion. People from all faiths, they must come together with a positive message to the society that this form of a tendency is not in the spirit of religion. They are doing a crime, not propagating religion at all. And then state coming up with some form of a positive law, that would work better rather than state going unilaterally with it.
No, but this is rather strange because, Lokesh Jindal, I remember when lynchings took place, the Congress supported a pan-national anti-lynching law. Even though anyone taking anyone's life, there are enough provisions in the IPC to basically punish those people. There is 320, there are 320B, there are several provisions. So why were you arguing for a above and beyond, more stringent anti-lynching law? And now why do you object to a above and beyond, more stringent, national level anti-conversion law? Isn't this hypocrisy?
No, I'll explain the difference between the two. In terms of anti-lynching law, there is usually a group of people, community all together.
Oh, I see.
Many of the times it is difficult to identify who the people were and who lynched that, whoever the individual was. And the law was absent on various counts. In fact, in public lynching, many of the times the perpetrators, they were able to get out of clean because of the legal loopholes. So therefore, there was a need for bringing about an anti-lynching law so that it could be prevented and the perpetrators are brought to justice. And this entire issue of a person being forcefully converted, there are enough legal provisions available. Any person who indulges, Supreme Court has given its clear
Now here is where viewers, you see the selectivity starts coming in. And this is directly linked to vote banks. Let me tell you this, directly linked. To appease one community, you will argue for their rights to be protected at whatever cost. And to once again appease that community, you will want to, at some level or the other, disadvantage the other group, which is not.
Any way.
No, this is rather strange.
If there is any way that can give us a desired result, we are open for that.
That's not your position, as you know. So I was only asking, I was trying to bring out the contradiction here. Let me bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Mr. Ratan Sharda. Mr. Mitra, simple question to you. Would you say that this entire episode that you have now witnessed and you've heard these testimonies is driven by a supremacist mindset which many people here are very wary of commenting about for obvious reasons?
Thanks, Rahul. See, it is a supremacist mindset, but the supremacist mindset is sort of the poshak for, electoral gains, which this has been quite common throughout India for a very long time. It's also done in Pakistan for very similar reasons. What you see is in much the same way as, land is encroached on in order to regularize that land and create a little voting pocket. What you see is that for certain communities, especially after communities that were disprivileged after 1857, the first war of independence, strength lies in powers, strength lies in numbers, And there is a need to keep increasing those numbers by hook or by crook and demonstrate a sense of power, create a sort of power equation, a street power equation, so to say. Number one. Number two, this need to convert forcibly plays into a lot of this. The mindset is supremacist, but the need is more of a in the UK, they're called grooming gangs. In India, it is called love jihad. Remember that term love jihad wasn't coined by Hindus. It was coined by the church in Kerala. It was the church in Kerala that brought it up and propagated it. And how often have you heard this coming out of Pakistan? Almost every single day, where some Hindu girl or the other or a Christian girl is taken from their home and forcibly converted. At least in Pakistan, you can say it is supremacist, but in India and UK, it is a supremacist mindset of the masses, but it is quite clearly done for political reasons, for creating political mass and street terror. And let's be clear, it is street terror. It doesn't fit the classical definition of terrorism, but it is done to cow down a certain community or that can be seen at some point of time to threaten a political base.
Okay, so let me bring in Mr. Danish Qureshi, AIMM sympathizer. Mr. Qureshi, is that the reason why the AIMM led by Asaduddin Owaisi opposes, for example, the UP anti-conversion law? The statement that has been attributed to Mr. Owaisi is that UP anti-conversion law would make Baba Sahib Ambedkar a criminal. Look at the way you politicize this, and you try to turn what the Supreme Court said, a very serious issue, into a polarizing one. Now, sir, that cannot be in the interest of maintaining communal harmony or building trust, can it?
Now, what is the problem, Rahul, with our country is that instead of criticizing the policy of the federal government, unemployment and youth unemployed and inflation and all, we are talking on conversion. What's the problem? The second problem with our people is that RSS wants an anti-conversion law in all the state with Ghar Vapsi clause. Ghar Vapsi is not a conversion, but if anybody is converting from one religion to other, that is a jihad or whatever they want to say, that however they want to politicize that word. Things are very clear. The Freedom of Religion Act was been amended in Gujarat in 2021, which has been stayed by Gujarat High Court, and now state government of Gujarat had filed an appeal in the Supreme Court of the country. Now, on 27 December 2021, what did Bhagwat ji said? Ghar Vapsi is the main goal. Ghar Vapsi lana hamara mukhya lakshya hai, said by RSS chief. This is not a conversion?
Sir, we are on the question
After that,
no, hang on. First of all, we are not, one second. We are on the question of forcible conversion, sir, which is an act which is criminal. Okay, so let's make that distinction. All these anti-conversion laws that are being sought to be brought about criminalize this with more stringent punishments, which you have a problem with. And let me also tell you, while we are on the point, sir, of conversions, let me also tell you, and I want us to, all our viewers, to listen to this. Remember, viewers, here on Times Now, we only deal in hard facts. And Mr. Qureshi says that, we should be talking about other issues and the problem with the media as well. The Supreme Court, no less, is seized of this matter and is expressing concern. So quite clearly,
no, not problem
it is
with
an
media.
existential
My
problem.
question is not to media.
Oh, it's nobody.
My question to RSS. My question to the chief of RSS.
Yes, sir. One second. Let me just say. Listen to this, viewers. This is very, very important. No fundamental right to convert in this country. So even conversion is not a fundamental right, Mr. Sharda. Reverend Stanislav versus State of Madhya Pradesh, this is what the Supreme Court ruled in 77. We have no doubt that it is in this sense that the word propagate has been used in Article 25(1). For what the article grants is not the right to convert another person to one's own religion, but to transmit or spread one's religion by an exposition of its tenets. It has to be remembered that Article 25(1) guarantees freedom of conscience to every citizen and not merely to the followers of one particular religion, and that in turn postulates that there is no fundamental right to convert another person to one's own religion, because if a person purposely undertakes the conversion of another person to his religion, as distinguished from his effort to transmit or spread the tenets of his religion, that would impinge on the freedom of conscience guaranteed to all the citizens of the country alike. So, Mr. Jindal, there is also not that freedom. So, Ratan Sharda, when you hear Mr. Qureshi accusing Mr. Bhagwat of saying ghar wapsi, etc., etc., how do you respond to him? Do you think this is an attempt to once again try and politicize what he is saying and misrepresent it, to spread disinformation, etc., to draw false equivalences, or is this the fact?
See, before I respond to very vague arguments and very superfluous argument, Danish Qureshi, let me make some basic points. First of all, thanks to you that you are trying to bell the cat when nobody touched the topic. Where for years together we have been abused of saying that love jihad is a myth. There is no love jihad. There have been cases and cases. You talk to Arsha Yoga Vidya Kendra in Kerala. They have documented cases, how it happens. Then there are 3 books that I have read. One is Love Jihad, Predatory Dawa. Second is Love Jihad by Ram Irani and Mihir. Third, in Hindi. Third is Love Jihad by another lady, Sunila Sohni. And so there are enough documentations that show, I had gone to Ujjain, a lady had real cases in her file. She made a fictional story because she was scared of the Love Jihad or she would be, attacked. Now this is one thing. Secondly, as Abhijit pointed out, Love Jihad story started coming up in 1990s. Some months back, I interviewed 2 clerics from Kerala from different sects, and one particular sect said that they have a document of 3,000 Christian girls, either who have vanished or have been taken away and not available to the family, who have been converted through Love Jihad. There is Satya Sarani in Kerala, which is known to do this, a documented case of converting, doctoring girls. Then then those girls converted who are sent to ISI, etc. All these cases are also well known. And when you say don't create animosity, the very fact that the kind of cases you have brought up, they show it's basically animosity. What can make somebody give money, forcefully convert people, cruelly do khatna and all that, unless there is sense of animosity, plus the sense of supremacy that we will rule the world and India again, as MIM chief has said, and many others have said, the Congress Maulvis have said. Then Congress has been very, Mr. Jindal today has been a bit courageous when he said that this will be condemned. Then he goes back to say there needs to be tolerance. It is not tolerance, my friend, we need respect. That is the problem. You are not tolerating us because this is a Hindu state, Hindu country for thousands of years before Islam and Christianity was born. And when you come here, you have to respect that when you get converted for whatever reason. Just like a Muslim who gets converted through invasions, he is also as Indian as we are. So why should you try to force that particular identity of invaders on locals so they feel that they have to come back to power by whatever means and convert people? So by 5-6 few cases of lynching, you create a havoc saying that lynching ke liye law aana chahiye, lynching needs a law. But during the same time, 150 Hindu activists are killed by extremists, but there is no need for law.
Okay,
today pass a law for lynching, just a moment. And from 1940s, there have been a series of cases, riots. People were punished under the same law. Today he wants a law. And what is the talk of, having conversation? From 1990s this is happening. You keep
let me get a response.
Today you see that you need a conversation.
Okay, let me get a response. Mr. Jindal, that's what I was talking about, the hypocrisy.
Rahul, the anti-conversion law in Uttar Pradesh.
You want a communal violence bill. Now, there are now one second. There are many laws in the IPC to punish rioters, and they are being punished. It's not as if rioting is only happening today. It's happened from 1947, the day this nation was birthed. We know this.
Before
and
that,
people have gone to jail. You want an anti-lynching law, but you don't want an anti-conversion law. Why, sir?
Rahul, the anti-conversion law in UP that was introduced, it has been a year and hardly 100 cases have been registered under it. The point is, if
100 is not good enough.
No, sir, please let me complete. If it is such an issue, so we see that these laws are ineffective in dealing with this problem. The idea is that in order to deal
this is
with
a
this
bizarre. No,
social...
hang on, Mr. Jindal. What a bizarre number. Now I want to bring in Mr. Sushil Pandit. You see, if tomorrow there was an anti-lynching law, there would be perhaps one case, or maybe two. So should we not have it? You see, viewers,
No,
laws are made to secure the interests of minorities, not in the sense that I am talking about, not religious minorities, viewers. Those were the weakest. But unfortunately,
after one
one
year,
second.
one
No,
year,
that doesn't matter, sir. Even
we
one
have
person's
only-
life is not important to you, or what?
It is very important. So in order to deal
this
with
kind of
such
mindset,
issues, there's
I'm
already
actually
a
shocked.
criminal
Let me bring in
code that is
Sushil.
there.
Let me bring in
The Indian
Sushil
Penal
Pandit.
Code is there which
Okay,
criminalizes such
let's
acts.
bring in Professor Atikur Rahman and Sushil Pandit. Mr. Pandit, I remember slogans like Relive, Selive, Galive. What were these slogans? And what was the impact?
Yes. See, relive, selive, galive. Relive means to assimilate, which means to convert. Galive means to die, which means you just disappear from this earth. And selive is to flee, which means if you don't follow first two, then you have an option, and be grateful for this option, that you run away from this land. Now, these were the three options given to us, rhyming options for the sake of aesthetics, if that was needed. And that is what led to 500,000 Hindus cleansed from the land where they lived, their ancestors lived, who actually inhabited the region, civilized the region. An entire culture was completely destroyed. What Aurangzeb could not achieve in his time was achieved in these modern times of human rights and anti-genocide conventions, democracy. Kafirun, from Jahiliya to Noor, when you actually make people ghazis for having eliminated, liquidated kafirs, you know, all this flies in the face of lakum deenakum waliyakum. No, this is, therefore, this contradiction has to be explained. I'm sure my friend Atikur Rahman will have a good reason for it, but today I would like him to use his candor and honesty, like he always does, to concede that there is a huge body of mindless people trying to either kill or convert. That's what is happening across the board. I don't know for what. I of course know for what, because they want to cleanse this land of kafirs, they want to cleanse this land of unbelievers, and unbelievers are, so Anand Ranganathan would have at least 20 such quotes from the scriptures to tell you,
let me tell you,
they are the most hated creatures on earth, and Allah's wrath would be visited upon them.
Sure, let me tell you, viewers, we are not talking about everybody. We are talking about a few people who refuse to give up their ways. There are some deviants. But viewers, deviancy can become the norm. It may not just remain the exception. It can become the norm very quickly if there is acceptance and if people don't stand up against it. Professor Atikur Rahman, would you not agree with me? But I don't find that energy in people to come up and stand against this. In fact, let me tell you, sir, that the demand for an anti-lynching law, for example, in the court was made by Hindu barristers. But people like Asaduddin Owaisi mock, who's a barrister himself, mock Hindus who demand a stricter anti-conversion law. What does this tell you? This tells you that the desire for comity between communities is greater on one side than on the other. Doesn't it tell you that, Professor Atikur Rahman?
Fine, Rahul. Of course, the desire for comity should be equal on both sides. But as a researcher on Islamic studies, as Sushil Pandit ji has, pointed certain questions to me. It's incumbent on me to clarify those points.
Sure.
Most of the Muslims who believe that I will be getting a Jannah, heavens for converting people, I would like to give a message, clear message to them that that's not the purpose of Allah or the Quran. If you want to enter Jannah, any of the Muslims want to enter Jannah, there are other great, areas wherein they can work upon. And one prominent thing which has come to light in the last 24 hours is by the Sikh community, Rahul, who is offering free housing and free food to people of Joshimath in Uttarakhand. That's pointed out the seriousness of this issue. Along with it, on the 1st of January, the same Supreme Court also pointed out that all conversions can't be illegal. On the MP law on anti-conversion law, this is reported in the Times of India, 4th January 2023. The Maharashtra government, Rahul, is finding all excuses and alibis because they are into getting a anti-conversion law.
See, that's
and that is why
I
the
knew you.
stories
So are
from
you
Daund
saying
in
that these
Maharashtra
poor people?
and things
No, one
like
second.
this
No,
is
now
popping up.
I grossly disagree with you, and I want to bring in Mr. Mitra. Mr. Mitra, look at this. These people, these individuals that we have gone and interviewed, have suffered, and despite that they're speaking up. They bear the physical symptoms, the signs of this terrible atrocity. We have in our panel tonight Sushil Pandit, who has been scarred, traumatized by 3 words. By 3 words. And are we saying today that this is once again some RSS conspiracy to push through a law to burnish their image amongst Hindus? Mr. Iyer, I mean, how do you respond to this?
Look, denial has always been one part of this, you see. I don't know why some people take it upon themselves to, defend or deny the indefensible. It's the Quran. You have a choice for every surah that you find saying go kill this or whatever. I can find one that says forgive. What we have to ask ourselves is why do community leaders choose to defend the worst of their kind, who choose the worst possible interpretation they can from the Quran? Where is the social movement you see amongst Muslims in India that goes on promoting, the hundreds of surahs within the Quran which you can use for peace, not to go around converting people, etc., etc., etc.? This is a sociological problem. This is a very deep sociological problem. And as long as we see this kind of denialism happen,
and also let me tell you,
there is no solution.
If we are talking about hard facts, let me tell you that it's not as if conversions en masse are not being allowed. Qureshi Saab, Jindal Saab, Rahman Saab. Yes, 1 second, Mr. Pandey. I just want to bring in some statistics. In Gujarat, there were 1,895 applications for conversions received between 2014 and 2019. 1,005 conversions were allowed to go ahead, despite Gujarat having an anti-conversion bill law, rather. So to constantly mythicize that this is some attempt at trying to create some kind of apartheid in society, ban the intermingling of people, is wrong. This is the statistical evidence. This is it. And let me tell you, compared to a total of 1,789 Hindu applicants between July 1st, 2014 and June 20th, 2019, 82 applicants were Muslims and 22 were Christians. There was only 1 Sikh applicant and 1 Ismaili Khoja applicant during the 5-year period. This data was placed before the Gujarat Assembly. So this is absolutely kosher data. So it doesn't mean that if you have a national level anti-conversion law, conversions will stop. and people will be robbed of their rights. That's why, viewers, it's very important to cut through this. I didn't like the fact that Professor here said that, oh, you know, this is all an RSS conspiracy, BJP conspiracy, etc. Because if you are implying, on the other hand, Professor Atikur Rahman, that there has been a hijack of the faith by a few, as you seem to be suggesting, then why not speak up against it? Sushil Pandit, how many people came onto the streets? How many of your Muslim neighbors came out onto the street protesting the 3 words?
Precisely. No, they won't, Rahul, because the very fundamentals of their faith underscore the fact that there is only one God worthy of worshipping, and all other gods are false gods. And this is proclaimed 5 times a day. The point is, if my gods are disparaged, if my faith is called out as a false faith, then it all starts from there.
It all starts from there.
If you do not respect my faith, if you call my gods false gods, then of course it gives you a legitimate license to convert me.
Professor Saab, could you respond?
No, Rahul, I would like to rebut this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rahul, yeah, I would like to rebut this. You know, this supremacy of Islam, which even the RSS chief pointed out, has been denied by the Islamic scholars like Dr. Rafiq Zakaria also and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad also.
Right.
Dr. Rafiq Zakaria points out in his book The Widening Divide, an insight into Hindu-Muslim relations, that supremacy of Islam is not conveyed by the Quran. The supremacist attitude is condemned by the Quran of the Christians.
Or viewers, as you know, through kidnappings. Every day there is a story. What has happened in Bangladesh? Professor Rahman, can you explain?
But Rahul, Pakistan is not an exact example of Islamic State.
Right.
If I want to learn Hinduism, I would rather go to Swami Vivekanand, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. How can I believe that my Hindus should go to Pakistan to learn Quran and Islam?
Right.
Please.
So
they are not the rightful, people to dictate what exactly the Quran says.
So there are people. Professor Rahman, Professor Rahman.
Pakistan is not an Islamic state.
Let me go to Professor Rahman to ask just one question, Rahul.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I ask Professor Rahman just one question, if you allow me.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
In the Shahada, Professor Rahman, you say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah means there is no other God except Allah. Do you bear witness to this or not? Do you deny me my gods or not?
Okay, I would like to answer this, Rahul. I would like to answer this.
Go ahead.
But where is the compulsion is this? Rahul, is it not true that Vishwakarma, Prajapati, Maryada Purushottam Ram is also somewhat having supremacy within its core philosophy of Hinduism? Every religion has a right to claim
Ratan
that
Sharda
their
is raising
religion
his
is
hand.
supreme, but there cannot be any compulsion.
Ratan Sharda wants to quickly respond.
La ilaha illallah, there
Yes.
is no God but God.
Okay.
There are too many myths being floated by Mr. Atikur Rahman, who I respect a lot, because he has the courage to many times speaks against his own people. I remember just yesterday or day before yesterday on Nupur Sharma issue, very rabid Islamist nearly threatened him for saying that we should forgive Nupur, and he was nearly threatened, abused by a person who claimed to be a Lama person. Now, secondly, when he says that he has supremacist attitude, show me one scriptures of Hindus which says that convert other people, that says that other religions are lower than our religion, which says that you have no right to reach Allah or God if you don't do this, and if you do this, you will lose your right to go to Allah, you will be kafir, you will be fallen, sinful people, and you need to be converted or you need to be made secular citizen. Nowhere, not one scripture. So to say that we have supremacist attitude is misguiding people and actually falsifying his own case.
Okay, I'm glad that you mentioned.
I have to respond to Danish also.
Rahul, can I just make one point?
Remember, we were all Hindus. Some people became Christian or Muslims. By consent, they go back to their original roots. That does not mean conversion. That means reconversion, going back to their own roots. And there is no force. Show me one case where a person who has come back to Hindu fold has been forced, has been bloodied or killed or moved. And there is such a love that they talk about. Why there is force by the Maulvis and others to convert before they get married? So there is a lot of unquestioned issues. Then there is an organization called Nahdlatul Ulama in Indonesia. Does Professor he knows about it, Atikur, does he have the courage to set up such an institution which will de-radicalize Muslims? Hindus can't do it. Government cannot do it. It is for this society that is to go back to say, see, there are two versions. There are not two Qurans. There is one Quran.
Okay.
Terrorists quote one part of Quran, and models like Atikur
well, let me
part
say,
of Quran.
there's
Will
a solution.
Come out honestly.
There is a solution. If it was not a question of supremacist outlook, viewers, an apology for an infraction would have been accepted. But let me tell you, viewers, that there were individuals here yesterday, and you might have watched that debate, that said that even if Nupur, and she has apologized, or others, if they do apologize, it still doesn't matter. They could even serve their terms in jail, but it wouldn't matter. Now, what does that tell you, viewers? What does that tell you? It tells you something, but the point is, I hope we are only talking about a small minority, and minority as in a minority within a minority. I just hope that Professor...
Rahul, I will differ on that.
No, one second, sir, one second. I'm not going to generalize, sir, because I believe that there is good in every human being. Some people, for their own political ends, will try to warp the weft of a faith or a text, etc., to suit their political ends. But one second. But what is important, Professor, since you make the point, is that if people are hijacking your good faith, then a large number of you, the majority of you, should stand up. We don't see that. And that's where the worry is. And that's why I said, if a Hindu can champion a bill to stop anti-lynching, then a Muslim should champion a bill for anti-conversion. Wouldn't that be a beautiful gesture? Would it not be? It would be. Let's hope that happens. That's perhaps the test we need to look at. I need to move on, viewers, because they're very